series. We've made it to personal tips. So if you've missed my past 3 videos, I did a dorm tour, I did roommate tips and like dorm life things, and then organizational tips for your room and this start of college career. So if you've made it here, it's week 3 of my dorm/college tips and tricks series. And like I said, it's personal tips, so I can't think of anything else to say. Ready for it?
Yeah.
Also,
Let's get into it. So, my first personal tip would be coming into college with an open mind and being specific in prayer. So we go to Liberty, if you don't know that, and I came in just really expectant for what God was gonna do, and just was really specific in my prayers for friendships, for classes, for just everything. And God was so faithful to answer all of those prayers specifically. And with such specific prayers, like, you knew it was God answering. I think having an open mind too, like, be open with who you're going to become friends with. Like, you might talk with some people on Instagram, like, before you move in or whatever, and that's a great idea, but be open to meeting new people. Like, we met some of our best friends on our hall that we had never talked to before we moved in.
Yeah, and with that, super intentional about being intentional and spending quality time with God. And like, if you're at a like Christian college or something, especially if you're a divinity student, because you're doing so much other like ministry and Bible stuff that you forget about the personal and intentional time with him. So, and just for anyone, it just, even if you've noticed any other time in your life, it eases your stress. So being in college, having that time to just relax and spend time with your Father, who brings you perfect peace, so helps with stress. I know there have been times where, like, me personally and other girls in the hall, we've been totally stressed, and being in a place like Liberty where we're here praying for each other, and it's super encouraging. So make sure you're spending intentional quality time with God. That like fake time that you're doing out of obligation is good because it builds a habit. That's about the only good piece of it. You want to be like, even if that specific day it doesn't look like reading the Bible, if you're still spending time in like quiet time journaling and prayer, that still helps. I'm not saying don't read your Bible, that's a super important piece, but I am the biggest like I understand not wanting to read your Bible, because like I mentioned, if you're a divinity student, you're doing so much other stuff, sometimes it just feels like too much, and God understands that we get overwhelmed. So don't completely freak out if you're getting overwhelmed with things like that. Just be intentional with what you're doing.
Alright, I kind of already talked about this a little bit, but make sure you're reaching out to the people on your hall. I would say it was like day 2 where we just got to know everybody on our hall, and start a group chat. Like, we have a freshman group chat. It's great. And I think that's part of the reason we all bonded so quickly. Because we'd just send a text on the group chat like, hey, I'm going to get dinner, like, anybody want to come? And we'd all go to dinner together. And it just helps you to build those friendships. Also, like, connect with people that aren't in your same like year. We're pretty close with the sophomores on our hall as well. Because we just reached out, they reached out. It was a good thing.
Yeah, it's super important to not only be friends with like the other freshmen, but be seeking those friendships to the people who are older, because it's not like high school where it's like rank is like such a big thing, like seniors aren't like touching freshmen. Like here it's like we all get it, we're all in college at this point, we're all legally adults. I don't know if we all act like it, but technically we are all adults, so people are way more open to like friendships and stuff. And just like, and that way you can have older friends, you're like, oh, I'm taking with this professor, should I like switch and drop this class? That's why it's good to build those, like try to get that done fast. Definitely like have like an open door or something, just that like physically open your door so people will like be like, oh my gosh, wait, your room's so cool, let me check it out. Another personal tip, how we put our clothes away. Like, you don't have a lot of closet space in college. I don't care where you end up, you probably aren't gonna have a lot of space. I mean, you may be lucky enough that you end up with more space, but you still have to figure out a different way to organize it. because you're going to be living in a completely different space, and it's not like just your room, it's also half your bathroom, it's also your kitchen. So organizing things is super important, and a big piece of that is clothes, because that makes up like half your room at this point. So I know when I moved in, my mom helped me put my clothes away, and she's like, oh, just organize it like however you want later. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. It took me a month to organize my clothes. Now that I have, amazing. I actually see what clothes I have more options for outfits, because you don't remember all the clothes you brought. So by like organizing it and stuff, I now see what options I have. And I know that for me, to help save on closet space, I got like a little thing where like you hang it, put hangers, and then you drop it down. Those work so well. They save so much space. But also, like, you have a cool like organizing thing.
Yeah, so I knew I didn't want to use a hanging system like that, because that stuff just frustrates me. So I got really thin like velvet hangers, and that's my space saver. And I didn't run out of closet space, and I brought a decent amount of hanging clothes. But I also got this closet organizer. I think it's made for shoes, but it just has big pockets in it. And I hung that up in the closet, and I store my sweaters, my hoodies, and like some PJ pants and stuff like that. And I just put it all in there, and it's really nice and saves some space in your dresser and keeps your sweaters and stuff from getting ruined from hangers. The next thing is something that I found really helpful. She cracks on me for it, but I will live and die by this stuff. So, shopping for bedding, the beds are twin XL. So I got twin XL sheets and a twin XL comforter. I would say you can probably get away with doing a full comforter, and that might fix this issue. I'm not sure, it just depends. But for me, my comforter was a twin XL. And so like a week in, I noticed it would wind up on the floor every single morning because it wasn't big enough to stay on the bed. And that just frustrated me so much. So I don't know the official term, like I don't know what it's actually called, but they're basically adjustable straps that you put under your bed that have like clips on either end, and you can clip your sheets and your comforter and your blanket and everything, and it just holds it on your bed. And I love these things, guys. They're amazing. They keep my comforter on the bed. Like I have not had to remake the bed like from the floor onto the bed since I got them. Yeah, so I would say we can put those in the description because they're pretty like niche. But if you're like kind of, you don't like to remake your bed like daily, get those. It makes like all I have to do is just toss my comforter and then the bed is made.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, because that's like you like sleep under your comforter and stuff, but for me, I don't. So I just take my whole thing and I just fold it back so it's like on the very edge of my bed. So it's fine for me. So I personally don't need bed straps. But if you happen to be like Michaela, they seem to be very helpful.
We comment on these like at least once a day. They're worth it.
Another thing that not everyone thinks about is that you need to bring multiple sets of sheets. I don't think you need more than 2, but if you want to be extra prepared, if someone needs to borrow some from you, I brought 4 sets, probably only needed 2.
I brought 1.
Of sheets. So it just makes it easier when you're like doing laundry. You have to change your sheets because literally look it up. You need to be changing your sheets more often than you probably think. And so with me having 2 sets, I started off with 1 set, and then after a little bit, because you're also like a little like grosser because like your showers aren't as good and stuff, and like
and if you're sitting on your bed.
Yes, you're sitting on top of your bed, and if you're the type like Michaela, you're sitting like on your sheets too. So like they get dirtier faster. And also, like, you just adjusting in college, like, the temperature of your room's, like, fluctuating a little bit, so, like, you're having different sleep things, blah, blah, blah. Your sheets get dirty, and they get dirty pretty fast. So by having 2 sets of sheets, I'm able to have one on, and then when I'm doing laundry, I take them off, and I can already put the new ones on and already have my bed made while the other ones are washing, and that way I just rotate through them.
Yeah.
So that's super important. I know you're not the only person who forgot to bring other sheets, too.
Yeah, for sure. I think most people only brought 1 set, and then we realized really quickly that like I still only have 1 set. I just wash it and then put it back on, but it took a while to wash it the first time.
Yeah, and like when you were washing it, like you were struggling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it would have been much easier to have a second set to just like put back on so I could get the bed made in that moment instead of waiting 4 hours and then you're tired and it's not good. For sure. And going off of that, you can get like cheap sheets and other organizational things at like Target, Five Below. I know I got a lot of my organizational things at Five Below, so like a shoe rack to go under the bed, I got at Five Below. My closet hanger, I got at Five Below.
Those from Five Below?
I think so. Either Five Below or Target. It wasn't expensive. What else? There was something like really important that I got there that I can't remember.
Also like small decor things, like you can find them at Five Below.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't need the highest quality of things, so they're like durable enough to just be in your dorm.
Yeah.
Get a good laptop. Like, I literally have seen a couple people walking around with their like high school Chromebooks, and I'm like, hun, we're in college now, that ain't gonna cut it. I'm not saying you need a MacBook, although that is my personal recommendation, but just get like a nicer laptop because you use it for everything. And the reason I personally recommend a MacBook is because of how much of it is synced up with your iPhone if you have it. Like, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because that way I'm doing stuff for my laptop, I don't have to be like switching and looking, and like things like my calendar is already synced, and it just makes it so much easier to stay organized and like have like better time management. That's my personal recommendation.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not one to talk because of prices and stuff, because I have my MacBook as a present. So just
Yeah. I would say though, it also depends on your major. So like, we're both divinity students, so a Mac works perfect. But I know a lot of like business, finance, like all of those people, they tend to have like Lenovo's or like PCs, because of they have to use Microsoft all the time.
Yeah.
Like, ours works totally fine to use the web version of Microsoft.
Or like the app.
Yeah.
But like, if you need to be doing a lot more like serious and super structured stuff on it, like Mac, I'm just saying, for me personally, it's what works. But like, reach out to like older people that you find on Instagram and stuff that are your same major, because usually you can like find like something about what they're studying across something, or like even just like connecting through different connections, like you'll find someone that you can get a recommendation from, or I bet someone has posted about it online.
Yeah.
What
Liberty has a recommendation for the different majors for laptops and software that you need. So just Google that and you'll find it. For sure.
Yeah. Okay. So for like your day in itself, I noticed just for the majority of people, doing days that last from like 9 to 3-ish are best. Waking up super early isn't the vibe for a college student, especially because you're up later just because of like the rhythm of life, but also with like studying. And if you're there super late in class, your day just goes on and on and on, and it feels like you're only doing school. And yes, college, it's about school, you're going there for an education, but it's also about community. So I say avoid 8 a.m.s and avoid anything that's ending after 4.
I would say even 3 is a stretch. Like 3 to 4 is still kind of rough. I think the best days are like 9 to 2, if you can get in that range.
Yeah. But also just make sure you're taking enough credits, because you don't want to accidentally fall behind. So that's important. So also, with having shorter days, try stacking your classes close together to make your day feel shorter. Just be aware of what classes you're stacking, and don't be stacking too many. Because if you stack too many, it just feels like you're like overwhelmed by all the information you just took in all at once. But like, so I wouldn't
leave a lunch break.
Leave a lunch break. I wouldn't stack like a math with a science with a thing, unless obviously you're like a science major or something.
Yeah.
So like, just be aware of what classes you're stacking and how many you're stacking them, and like what breaks you're giving yourself. Because next semester, I'm stacking 3 classes. Like, they're only 15 minutes apart, but they're all easy to process classes, and I'll have time for lunch after.
Yeah.
So, like, those are things to take into account when you're stacking classes.
Okay, last tip for this specific video is about, like, school supplies and prepping with books. I know a lot of people buy their books ahead of time, which I would say for first semester freshmen, I do recommend that. Go on your bookstore, it'll tell you everything you need. I would say buy some stuff on eBay. I got a lot of my books off eBay a lot cheaper, and try and get them used if you can. but I would say purchase them before classes start. And then for school supplies, though, don't do that. It's not high school. You don't need a ton of notebooks, folders, all of that. I have one notebook, and that's it. And like pens.
Yeah.
You just need your laptop, and that's kind of it.
Just wait until after syllabus week for the professor to like explain what you need. And like you said, with first semester freshmen, definitely get the books, at least the ones that are required for your course.
But the recommended books, don't get them.
Don't touch them. But like small things like command hooks and things like that, buy at like Walmart or something when you get to school. And like, I bought it beforehand just because we had it, and when my parents dropped me off, I knew I wasn't gonna have that much time to go shopping with them. But things like a door mirror, you get those, there's like a guarantee that they'll have them at like Walmart or Target. So like things like that might break on the car ride, or depending on how you're getting to your school, just be aware of that when you're buying it too.
I would say though, buy a step stool and bring it with you, because these beds are really tall. And I came in with a step stool, and so that helped. But if you're looking for one, they're gonna be all sold out. So
yeah. But that's not just coming from us who are on the shorter side. Like my friends who are like 5'7", 5'9", also have step stools. So just because it's probably taller than your bed at home, so you're just not used to it. And also just makes it easier. Half the time you're crawling into your bed tired. So be aware of that.
You don't want to.
So that's it for personal tips. Next week is the last week in this series, and it's more Liberty and South Tower specific. But please still watch it even if you're not, because I like views. But also, who knows? Maybe something will be of interest to you. And maybe if you're just considering Liberty, it'll still be helpful because it's like extremely accurate to what the school actually is. It's not like one of the, no hate to Liberty, but not one of their like pre-recorded videos that makes everything seem perfect here. So be on the lookout for that next week. I think that's it. Remember, more than conquerors to him who loves us. Bye guys. She's sweet.